Most people completely misunderstand what it actually takes to register a company in Papua New Guinea, and because of that misunderstanding, they either overlook one of the most resource-rich but underutilized business environments in the Asia-Pacific region, or they enter without preparation and get stuck in regulatory steps, documentation requirements, and approval processes they never expect. And that is exactly what happened to Daniel, a 42-year-old entrepreneur from Brisbane, Australia, who had been exploring mining support services and logistics opportunities across the Pacific region. At first, Papua New Guinea was not even on his list. He was focused on Indonesia, Australia, and Singapore. Larger markets, more predictable systems, and stronger investor visibility. But one conversation changed everything. A regional investment consultant told him something unexpected. He said, "If you understand how to properly structure a company in Papua New Guinea, you gain access to one of the most resource-driven economies in the Pacific, with long-term demand for infrastructure, logistics, and service providers." Daniel didn't take it seriously at first. Papua New Guinea sounded remote, complex, and difficult to navigate. But what he didn't realize was something important. Papua New Guinea does have a formal legal system for company formation, including limited liability companies commonly registered under the Investment Promotion Authority framework, which allows both local and foreign investors to establish legally recognized business entities. And that is where the real journey begins. Because Daniel assumed registering a company would be simple. Submit documents, get approval, and start operations. But what he discovered instead was a structured legal process involving name reservation, incorporation through the Investment Promotion Authority, tax registration with internal revenue authorities, and banking compliance steps that must be completed in sequence. And here's where things get interesting. Because in Papua New Guinea, the challenge is not absence of structure. It is misunderstanding how the structure works. But before we break it down, you need to understand something critical. A company in Papua New Guinea is typically registered as a limited liability company, often referred to as a company limited by shares. This structure protects shareholders from personal liability while allowing them to operate legally, hire employees, open bank accounts, and conduct business within the country's regulatory system. However, foreign investors often face additional scrutiny depending on sector ownership percentage and whether the business is classified as a restricted or sensitive industry. Now let's go back to Daniel's journey. He arrives in Port Moresby, the capital city, expecting a complicated bureaucratic process with unclear requirements. Instead, he meets a local advisor named Sarah, a business consultant who has helped foreign companies register across Papua New Guinea for over a decade. And the first thing she tells him immediately reshapes his expectations. She says, "In Papua New Guinea, company registration is not difficult, but it is sequential. If you follow the sequence, it works smoothly. If you don't, everything stalls." Daniel nods, but he doesn't fully understand what that means yet. Because the first step is not paperwork submission. It is business classification and structure planning. And here's the problem most people run into immediately. They try to register a company without clearly defining their business activity in a way that aligns with regulatory classification rules. But in Papua New Guinea, your business activity determines approval requirements, licensing needs, and whether additional permits are required from investment authorities. So Zara asks Daniel a simple question. What exactly is your business model in Papua New Guinea? He replies, mining support services, logistics coordination, and equipment supply. And she immediately pauses. Because that is broad. And this is where many applications begin to slow down or require additional review. So she helps him refine it into something more structured. Mining logistics support and equipment supply chain services. That refinement becomes the foundation of everything that follows. But here's where things get even more important. Because once business activity is defined, the next step is name reservation and approval through the Investment Promotion Authority, commonly known as IPA-IT. Daniel submits 3 potential company names. 2 are rejected due to similarity with existing companies. The third is accepted after minor modification. And this is where Sarah gives him a key insight. She says, in Papua New Guinea, naming is not branding first. It is regulatory identity first. That means your company name must be legally acceptable before it becomes a market identity. And once the name is approved, you move into incorporation documentation. This is where the process becomes more formal and detailed. Because now you must prepare shareholder details, director information, registered office address, and company constitution documents. And this is where Michael, another entrepreneur from Texas, encountered unexpected delays. Michael attempted to register a consulting company using a simplified template he had used in other jurisdictions. But his application was returned. Why? Because Papua New Guinea requires documentation that aligns with its Companies Act framework, and submissions must match IPA formatting requirements precisely. And this is where frustration often begins. Because what seems simple becomes highly procedural. But here's the insight Sarah gives Daniel that changes everything. She says, Papua New Guinea is not random. It is structured. But the structure is strict about order. Narida, ne, azendio, aneganawa, alerabdi. And that becomes the turning point. Because once Daniel understands sequence, everything becomes clearer. So he begins preparing carefully. He gathers notarized identification documents, prepares shareholder agreements, defines governance structure, and ensures his business activity matches regulatory expectations. And that preparation makes a difference. Because when he submits his application to the Investment Promotion Authority, the process moves forward without immediate rejection. But here's where things become more layered. Because company registration in Papua New Guinea is not a single approval. It is a multi-stage process. First, incorporation approval through the IPA.di. Second, issuance of the Certificate of Incorporation. Third, tax registration with the Internal Revenue Commission. And fourth, banking setup and operational compliance verification. And this is where many foreign entrepreneurs misunderstand timing. They assume incorporation equals business readiness. But in reality, incorporation is just legal recognition. After incorporation, Daniel receives his official certificate. And that moment feels like progress. But Sarah immediately clarifies something important. You are legally registered, but you are not yet operational in the financial system. Because next comes tax registration. And this is where Emily, another entrepreneur from California, encountered unexpected delays. She assumed tax registration would be automatic after incorporation. But in Papua New Guinea, you must register separately with tax authorities and obtain a tax identification number before operating fully. And this matters more than most people realize. Because tax classification determines reporting obligations, withholding taxes, and compliance requirements. If there is a mismatch, corrections may be required before full activation. But Daniel avoids this mistake because he prepares early. And that preparation speeds up the process significantly. But here's where things shift again. Because now, he must open a corporate bank account. And this is often one of the most sensitive steps in the entire process. Banks require incorporation documents, identification records, business activity descriptions, shareholder verification, and compliance checks. And in some cases, in-person verification is required. This is where Jessica, another founder from New York, faced delays she did not expect. Her incorporation was completed successfully. Her tax registration was pending. But her banking application stalled due to inconsistent documentation and missing verification details. And this is where most entrepreneurs realize something important. Legal registration and financial activation are not the same thing. But Daniel learns from this early. So he prepares everything in advance. Certified documents, financial statements, shareholder verification, and business contracts. And because of that preparation, his banking process moves forward more smoothly. But here's the deeper insight most people miss. In Papua New Guinea, success is not just about paperwork. It is about alignment. Alignment between business activity, legal structure, tax classification, and banking documentation. When those elements align, the system functions efficiently. When they do not, delays occur even in a structured system. And that is the real lesson here. Because when you zoom out, registering an LLC in Papua New Guinea is not just bureaucracy. It is a structured regulatory system, designed to manage investment, ensure compliance, and support controlled economic growth in a resource-driven environment. And once you understand that structure, everything becomes more predictable. Daniel is no longer guessing. He is operating with clarity and control. And that shift changes everything. But here's a curiosity loop most people never consider. Because Papua New Guinea sits on one of the richest natural resource corridors in the Pacific, with strong demand in mining, energy, construction and logistics services, making it a long-term opportunity market for structured foreign investment. But only if the company is set up correctly from the beginning. Unled. Because mistakes in early registration can restrict future licensing or expansion opportunities. So let's bring everything together clearly. First, you define your business activity precisely according to regulatory classification. Second, you reserve your company name through the Investment Promotion Authority. Third, you prepare incorporation documents including shareholder and governance structure. Fourth, you complete incorporation and receive your certificate. Fifth, you register for tax purposes with the Internal Revenue Commission. And finally, you open a corporate bank account to activate operations. Each step builds on the previous one. And skipping or misordering even one step can create delays or compliance issues. But when done correctly, the system becomes logical and manageable. And here is the final insight that ties everything together. Most people think registering a company in Papua New Guinea is about dealing with bureaucracy. But in reality, it is about understanding structure and following sequence correctly. Once you understand sequence, you gain control. And once you gain control, international business stops feeling uncertain and starts becoming strategic. Daniel, Michael, Emily, and Jessica all started with confusion. But the ones who succeeded were those who prepared carefully and respected the process step by step. And that is the real takeaway. Papua New Guinea is not an impossible place to register a company. It is a structured regulatory environment that rewards preparation, clarity, and sequence. So if you are considering registering an LLC in Papua New Guinea, the real question is not whether it can be done. It is whether you are ready to follow the process exactly as designed, without skipping the steps that matter. Because once you do, you will realize something powerful. Global opportunity is not chaos. It is structure. And when you understand structure, you can navigate opportunities most people will never even attempt. And if you found this guide helpful, and want more deep breakdowns of international company formation and global business strategy, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Because the next guide might completely change how you see the world of business.